Hello dear students, welcome back to physics online class. In previous session we discussed some basic aspect as well as neat portions related to Coulomb's law. So now in today's class let me focus on that vector form of the Coulomb's law. So if I write that vector form of the Coulomb's law, that vector form of Coulomb's law having certain kind of applications. So in order to understand that applications of vector form of Coulomb's law, first I will write that Coulomb's law in vector form. So in today's class we will discuss about vector form of Coulomb's law. Vector form of Coulomb's law. So in order to consider that vector form of Coulomb's law, I will take that two positive charge here. So one is plus q1 and another charge is plus q2, and there exists a separation between these two charges. That separation I will name it as a r here. So now between these two charges there exists a certain kind of force. So now let me write that force act on the charge q2 as well as force act on the charge q1 here. Which thing is responsible for that force act on the charge q2 here? Force act on the charge q2 is due to a charge q1 here. In the similar way, so force on the charge q1 is responsible for that charge q2 here. So let me write that force on charge q2. So due to charge q1 here, so force experiencing by charge q2 is responsible for the charge q1 here. So let me write that force. For example, here force is acting on the charge q2. So this force I will take it as a f of 2 to 1 here. What's the mean of that f of 2 to 1 here? F of 2 to 1 means force on charge q2 due to charge q1 here. Force on charge q2 due to charge q1 here. So f of 2 to 1. So f of 2 to 1, it is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2 by r square and r cap of 1 to 2 here. What's that r cap of 1 to 2 here? R cap of 1 to 2 is nothing but a unit vector. R cap of 1 to 2 is nothing but a unit vector in the direction from, what is the direction here? From q1 to q2 here. What is the direction here? Direction of the unit vector r cap of 1 to 2 is from q1 to q2. So similarly I will write that force on the charge q1 here. So similarly force on charge q1, force on charge q1 due to charge q2. So due to charge q2 here. So what's the equation? I will write it here. So f of 1 to 2 here. So let me write that force on charge q1 due to a charge q2. So similar charges means repulsive force is exist here. So this force is f of 1 to 2. It means that force on charge q1 due to charge q2. So f of 1 to 2 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2 by r square and r cap of 2 to 1 here. So where r cap of 2 to 1 is nothing but what? Where r cap of 2 to 1 is unit vector here. So in first PU topic you learned that unit vector concept. So r cap of 2 to 1 is nothing but a, so what's that? Unit vector in the direction from q2 to q1. What is the direction of r cap of 2 to 1 here? R cap of 2 to 1 is in the direction from charge q2 to charge q1 here. So now I got that force on charge q1 as well as force on that charge q2 here. So where, for example, r cap of 2 to 1 is nothing but a r2 minus of r1, and r cap of 1 to 2 is nothing but a r1 minus of r2. So shall I rearrange this equation here? So let me consider that r cap of 2 to 1, it is equal to minus of r cap of 1 to 2. So is it right? So r cap of 2 to 1 is equal to what? Minus of r cap of 1 to 2. So let me take this as equation 3 here. So now equation 3 value, shall I fill it in equation 1? Wherever r cap of 2 to 1, sorry, in equation 2. So I will substitute equation 3 value in equation 2. Wherever r cap of 2 to 1 is there. So shall I fill that equation as a minus of r cap of 1 to 2 here? So I will substitute, put equation 3 value in equation 2 here. So let me write that equation. F of 1 to 2, it is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2 by r square here. R cap of 2 to 1. So minus of r cap of 1 to 2 here. So look at here. F of 1 to 2 is equal to what? Minus of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2 by r square, r cap of 1 to 2. So look at here. What's this equation? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2 by r square, r cap of 1 to 2. So shall I write this equation as a f of 2 to 1? So this equation is f of 2 to 1. So let me rewrite this equation. F of 1 to 2 is equal to what? Minus of f of 2 to 1. What's the mean here? So force between these two charges are equal and opposite to each other here. So f of 1 to 2 is equal to minus of f of 2 to 1 means force between these two charges are equal and opposite here. So here f of 1 to 2 is equal to minus of 2 to 1 means what it means here? It obeys Newton's third law here. So Newton's third law, so f of a to b is equal to minus of f of b to a you are going to be considered. So it means that Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law here. So look at here. Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law. If you write that vector form of Coulomb's law, it gives that information about that. So vectors form of Coulomb's law. From the vector form of Coulomb's law, we may come to know that Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law. So they may ask the question like so. Show that Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law. So in the examination they may ask the question like so. Show that Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law. So what is your answer here? So in order to consider that Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law, so just you will write that vector form of Coulomb's law. F of 1 to 2 is equal to minus of f of 2 to 1. So then what are the importance of the Coulomb's law? So I said that if you write the vector form, then you may come to know that importance of the vector form of Coulomb's law. So first importance I got that Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law. What is that first importance here? Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law here, and another one here. So that r cap of 1 to 2 and r cap of 2 to 1 is the force acting along the line joining between the two charges here. So let me explain that. R cap of 1 to 2 and r cap of 2 to 1. It is nothing but a force act between the two charges is along the line joining between the two charges. It means that Coulomb's law obeys central force here. So Coulomb's law obeys central force. First one is Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law, and another one is Coulomb's law obeys central force here. So Coulomb's law obeys central force. So if you write the vector form of Coulomb's law, so from that vector form of Coulomb's law we got that. So Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law. So as well as from the line joining between these two charges, we may come to know that Coulomb's law is a central force. So what's the mean of central force? So force is acting at the center point, we can call. So in case of that vector form of Coulomb's law, hope you understand these points. So In case of Coulomb's law, it explains only force between the two charges. So somewhere, so in all the cases there may not be only two charges, there may be a multiple charges. So in case of that multiple charges, for example, this is charge q1, q2, q3, for example, like that. Here number of charges are there. Then how to consider that force on one charge due to a other charge here? So in order to consider that force between multiple charges, I will understand that superposition principle. So let me explain what is that superposition principle here. So in case of that Coulomb's law, from the Coulomb's law we may come to know that Coulomb's law obeys Newton's third law as well as, so Coulomb's law is a central force. So in case of that Coulomb's law, so it explains only force between the two charges. In all the situation there may not be a only two charges. If multiple charges are there, then how to find that force between the multiple charges? So force between multiple charges. So force between multiple charges. So in order to consider force between multiple charges, also we can call that as a superposition principle. Superposition principle. So in order to calculate that force between the multiple charges, for example, for my consideration, I will take that three charges here. So let me take that three charges here. So for my convenience, more than two charges first. For example, this is charge q1 and this will be a charge q2. Distance between these two charge is r of 1 to 2, and this is charge q3, and distance between these two charge is r of 1 to 2. For example, unit r cap. So now for example, first I will consider that force on charge q1 due to charge q2 as well as force on charge q1 due to charge q3. It means that on the charge q1, whatever the total force experience is there, the total force experiencing by the charge q1 is responsible for the charge q2 as well as the charge q3. So from that force between multiple charges or superposition principle, it suggests that force on any charge due to other charges here. So force on any charge, for example, I will consider that charge q1. Force on any charge due to other charge is equal to vector sum of all the forces act on that charge. What is that superposition principle suggest here? Force on any charge, let me write that, force on any charge due to other charges, is equal to force on any charge due to other charge is equal to vector sum of all the force acting, vector sum of all the force acting on that charge, vector sum of all the force acting on that charge here. So that is superposition principle here. So what's that superposition principle here? Force on any charge due to other charge is equal to vector sum of all the forces act on that charge. So let me write that. What is the force act on the charge q1 due to a charge q2? So force on charge q1 due to charge q2. So this force is along one direction. So that force I will name it as a f of 1 to 2 here. So look at here. Force on charge q1 due to a charge q2. So f of 1 to 2. F of 1 to 2 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2. Distance is r of 1 to 2, I said that. So r square of 1 to 2, r cap of 1 to 2 here. So first equation, force on charge q1 due to charge q2 here. So in the second case I will write that force on charge q1 due to charge q3. So first case the force experiencing by the charge q1 is responsible for charge q2. In the second case, force experiencing by the charge q1 is responsible for the charge q3 here. So that force I will write it here. So this force is force on q1 due to q2, and another one I will write it here, force on q1 due to q3. So that force, let me write that, F of 1 to 3. So that force is in this direction. So this is F of 1 to 3 and this is F of 1 to 2 here. So now F of 1 to 3 is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2 divided by r square. What is the distance I consider here? R of 1 to 3 and r cap of 1 to 3 here. So I got that force experiencing by the charge q1 is responsible for q2 and q3. Then what is the resultant force on the charge q1 here? So resultant force I will write it here. On the charge q1, the force experiencing by q2 is also there and q3 is also there. These two forces are in a different direction. Now I will consider that resultant force here for resultant force. So resultant force is, so from this definition, force on any charge due to other charge is equal to vector sum of all the forces acting on that charge. So resultant force F is equal to r cap of 1 to 2 plus r cap of 1 to 3 here. So let me write that F is equal to, resultant force is equal to vector sum of all the forces I said. Vector sum of all the forces means F of 1 to 2 is what? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q2 by r square of 1 to 2 r cap of 1 to 2 plus of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 into q3 here. Sorry, here q1 into q3. Between that q1 and q3. q1 into q3 r square of 1 to 3. For example, these two forces. So instead of these three charges, if multiple charges are there, so multiple charges means, so that is so on. So F of nth term I will consider. So like that. So if that multiple charges were present, so resultant force will be. So what will be the resultant force here? So in order to get that force between the multiple charges, so what is the equation I will get it here? q1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught summation of nth number of charges, so ith number of charges and r square of 1 to I and r cap of 1 to I here. So this is the required equation for the force between multiple charges. So look at here, force act on charge q1 due to charge q2 between q1 and q2. Force act on charge q1 due to charge q3 between q1 and q3. So force act on any charge is equal to vector sum of individual force. Resultant force is equal to F1. So F of 1 to 2 plus of F of 1 to 3 here. So instead of 3 charges, if multiple charges are there means, so resultant force F is equal to q1 by 4 pi epsilon naught summation of q of I divided by r square of 1 to I r cap of 1 to I here. So in that mathematical calculation, how to get the resultant force here? So for example, this will be the direction of resultant force here. So this will be a direction of the resultant force here. So in order to get the direction or in order to get the magnitude as well as direction of the resultant force, I will use that parallelogram law of vector addition as well as polygon law of vector addition. So in first PU topic you learned that in case of motion in a plane, resultant vector in case of parallelogram law of vector addition, r is equal to p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta. In the similar aspect here, force, for what are the forces? F of 1 2 is there and F of 1 2 3 is there. So between these two forces there exists one resultant force. How to calculate the resultant force here? By using parallelogram law of vector addition as well as polygon law of vector addition. By using those equations, I will get that resultant force value here. So hope you understand here. In case of that vector form of Coulomb's law as well as force between the multiple charges in the simpler way. So in case of that Coulomb's law, it explains that force between the two charges. Instead of two charges, if multiple charges are present, then force between the multiple charge is nothing but a superposition principle. What that superposition principle suggests that, so force on any charge due to a other charge is equal to vector sum of all the forces act on that charge here. So on the charge q1, q2 is exerting force as well as q3 is also exerting force here. So in order to get that resultant force, I will use parallelogram law of vector addition as well as polygon law of vector addition. So in case of that Coulomb's law, so that Coulomb's law having certain kind of limitations. So what are the limitations in case of Coulomb's law? So let me understand what are the limitations of Coulomb's law here. So what are the limitations related to Coulomb's law? Let me understand what are the limitations of Coulomb's law. So in case of that Coulomb's law, I got that force between the multiple charges and vector form of Coulomb's law as well as force between multiple charges. So let me understand that limitations of Coulomb's law. Limitations of Coulomb's law. So in case of that limitations of Coulomb's law, that first limitation is Coulomb's law is applicable only for point charges here. So what's that limitation here? First limitation is Coulomb's law is applicable point charges. What's the mean of point charges here? So point charge means its size is very much small, I will consider. So it is applicable. It is applicable only for point charges. So what is the first limitation here? It is applicable only for point charges. And second one is most important and interesting thing. So if the distance between the two charge particle is greater than the 10 to the power of minus 15 meter, then only Coulomb's law is getting valid here. So let me understand. If distance is greater than distance between the charge particle, distance is greater than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter, then only it holds good. So let me understand the second point here. So Coulomb's law is applicable, or Coulomb's law is holds good only when the distance between charge particle must be greater than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter. For example, here charge q1 is there, here charge q2 is there. In order to get that attractive force or repulsive force, or in order to obey the Coulomb's law, so the distance between these two charge particle must be greater than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter. So in order to obey that Coulomb's law, distance between the charge particle must be greater than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter. What happens if the distance is less than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter? For example, this is charge q1 and this is charge q2 here. Distance between charge q1 and q2 is less than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter. It loses its validity. Why that Coulomb's law loses its validity if the distance is less than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter here? So let me understand. In case of the basic properties of charges, I said that like charges will repel each other, whereas unlike charges will get attract each other, I said. So let me give an example. For example, inside the nucleus is consist of protons and neutrons here. So nucleus is consist of protons and neutrons, means how that entire protons are bonded in a small region here. Like charges should be repel each other here. So did you get my point here? So in case of that nucleus consists of protons as well as neutrons, I said. So nucleus consists of protons means like charges. Like charges should get repel each other. How that entire positive charges or how the entire protons are present inside the nucleus here? So the reason for that is distance between these charge particles are less than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter here. If the distance between the charge particle is less than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter, so Coulomb's law does not get valid here. There exists a nuclear force between the charge particles. So let me understand here. If the distance between the charge particle is less than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter, Coulomb's law doesn't get valid here. If the distance is less than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter, means there exists a nuclear force here. Nuclear force is always attractive force. So that's what these protons and protons will not get repelled here. So let me explain once again here. So distance between the charge particle must be greater than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter. Then only Coulomb's law holds good. If the distance is less than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter, means, so what happens here? Nuclear force is present. Nuclear force is only attractive force. There is no repulsive force. So for that reason, so entire protons are holes in the nucleus. So hope you understand this point. So it is somehow interesting point here. And third one is, so Coulomb's law is not a universal law. So it is not universal law. It is not universal law. So in first class, in beginning I said that Newton's law of gravitation and Coulomb's law both are having similarity. Force between the two bodies, I said here that force between the two charges. But Newton's law of gravitation, we are going to be call it as a universal law of gravitation. So hope you remember that in case of gravitation, you learned that Newton's law of gravitation as a universal law of gravitation. But Coulomb's law didn't say that it is a universal law. Why? Because Newton's law of gravitation is applicable wherever. So it is independent on the medium between the two bodies here. So in case of Newton's law of gravitation, the force of attraction between the two body is independent on the medium between the two body. But in case of the charge particle, force between the charge particle is depends on the medium between the two body. For example, between the charge particle air medium is there, it exerts different kind of force. Between the charge particle, if oil medium is there, force value will get changes. So that is what Coulomb's law is not a universal law, I will consider. So hope you understand these points. What are the limitations of Coulomb's law here? First thing is, it is applicable only for point charges here. Second thing, if the distance is greater than 10 to the power of minus 15 meter, then only that Coulomb's law is holds good. And third point, it is not a universal law. And fourth one is, it is experimental law. It is an experimental law. So these are all the limitations of Coulomb's law. Hope you understand today's class. In next class, we will discuss